Welcome everyone to the Builders Coach 2-day Bootcamp 2.0. This event's about breaking through barriers, plain and simple. So breaking through barriers to success. So success being really optimizing your workflow, profit, cash flow, and really sustaining that there. So we're not going to be covering off fundamentals during this next 2 days. I'm not going to be teaching you guys about time management or your break-even point. Those things are important. They're really important from a fundamental point of view, but we're going to be looking at the things that are going to help you break through to the next level of success for your business and achieve big results. And those are generally the things that get the heart rate up a bit, give you sweaty palms. Okay, so we're going to be showcasing what a lot of our most successful, high-achieving clients do, and we're going to get some of them up here. They're going to share. And just a quick disclaimer. So not everything that we cover over the next 2 days is for everyone, all right? I'm not going to say this is, some of these things you may not be comfortable with for you and your business, and that's okay. It's not for everyone. But I'm assuming if you're in the room for this 2-day event, you're here because you want to challenge yourself. And my take on things is if you're not challenging yourself, then what are you doing? Yeah, if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. And nothing significant or important was achieved in comfort zones. Okay, so I want to explore your comfort zones over the next couple of days. And just to pack some more context around that, this bloke over here, Roger Bannister, 6th of May, 1954, he broke the 4-minute mile. You guys have heard the story. Prior to him doing that, it was widely believed that it was impossible, right? Impossible for a human being to run 1 mile under 4 minutes. So you think about the sports psychology with that, it's quite interesting. If you think about teams that haven't won a grand final, if they've never won a grand final, their club's never won one, how do they then get the belief that they can do it too? So they need to probably look at other teams that have done it and say, well, if they can do it, so can we. But in this guy's case, no one had done it before. And most people believed it was impossible for a human to do it. So a big effort for a pond as well, right? But what was even more interesting with this is that he was studying at Oxford University, right? And that's where he actually broke you can see video footage of him breaking the 4-minute thing. And there were doctors and professors that believed that if he did break it, so most people thought it was impossible, but there were guys that were saying if he did do it, he would die shortly afterwards because of the lactic acid buildup as well. And just after he finished, he still said straight afterwards, he thought, well, am I going to cock it now, you know? And he didn't. So, and now the 4-minute mile it's pretty much the standard for professional athletes around the world, for middle distance runners. So, yeah, hundreds of guys do it every year. Thousands have done it since Roger Bannister did. And the world record at the moment is 3 minutes 43. So 17 seconds below the 4 minutes, which, I mean, Roger wouldn't have been on the home stretch. So you're probably thinking, geez, what's the relevance of this to my business? You know, I've come here to learn about business. So the relevance to you is there's something in your business, something that you believe is impossible for you, for your business or for yourself, that some other builder like you has done or has achieved. And over the next 2 days, we're going to discover what that is. We're going to discover what your 4-minute mile is, and then we're going to break through that barrier and hopefully help you achieve some big results. So you guys, you up for that? Yeah. Awesome. Just to make it more relevant to you, because you're builders, you're probably thinking, you get the concept that I've just described, but relevance to your business. I want to share, so let's look at a building company, right? Rotor Development, some of you guys have heard of these boys down in Melbourne. I just want to run through what they've done. These guys, this is an interesting story, right? So I've worked with, over 1,000 builders now since 2004. And you get different, like everyone's different. You all got different businesses. You get like a different niche, different personalities, you different people, different aspirations. And some guys come to me or want to work on their business and achieve success because they know they're good. They know they can achieve big results. So it's a bit like an acorn knowing somehow that it's going to be this big oak tree. So some of our clients come to me and they know because they've been told or they intuitively just know that they're going to achieve big things. Other people come to me And they're like the acorn that doesn't realize they're going to be an oak tree. They're just an acorn. And as they grow, they start realizing, hold on, we are big, strong, we're going to be this mighty oak tree. So the Rowling boys are a bit like that, in that as they went, they slowly but surely realized, hey, we can achieve big things, and they have subsequently. So I'll run through a list. As I do, ask yourself, are there, as I go through this list, if anything comes up and you say to yourself, oh, impossible, or yeah, they could do that, but not me, that's your 4-minute mile. Okay? So, they've got themselves a niche. In fact, their original niche was renovations, and they set up their website, hard copy brochure. They were driving out with 8 banners to put on jobs, and they pulled the car over and decided, nah, wrong niche, we want to go multi-unit developments. And they changed. And the good thing for that, I was like, man, you just spent a bit of time and money getting this, everything set up for renos. But they were happy because now when they did go down the multi-unit developments path, they knew that was the path for them with 100% certainty. So they were fully committed. So they've got that, got the niche. Operations manual. They've got a living, breathing operations manual that they use, and it's constantly growing and evolving. They've got administration and job delivery systems and people in place. So they didn't have that when we started working together. They've got someone doing contracts admin. They've got a lady in the office that also does their contract signing as well. 2 supervisors running the jobs, and they're using a job delivery system, Buildertrend, which most of you are familiar with. They have improved their profitability, looking at optimizing their profit on jobs. They've got consistent quality lead flow, which then leads to consistent quality workflow as well. They've got their trades out at 30 days, 30-day payment terms with the trades. They charge for quotes. So if you want to get a quote done, you're going to have to pay for the privilege, and you'll be glad you did. They have an intelligent education-based marketing system. We'll learn more about that tomorrow. And that's taken them from 5 quality inquiries that they'd go and do a site visit with a month, to 25 a month consistently. They're in a position to achieve a 7-figure net profit over a 12-month period. So $1 million after wages and expenses, if they so choose. The business has the ability to do that, and the projections currently. They have aspirations to turn over 30 million. So they're not doing that now. I think it's around 10 or 12. Aspirations to do 30 mil turnover in their current niche. And they are currently working on their main goal, which is to be faceless. So 2 directors, Rob and Dave, Rhoda. And that's the goal, is to be faceless. Okay, so as I went through, maybe there were a few things in there that sort of jumped out at you as being one relevant to your business, and maybe there were a few 4-minute miles. So the big question is, what's your 4-minute mile for you in your business? Then maybe it's nothing that I just went through on that list for Rhoda. Maybe it's something completely different. What I want you to do, though, is take 2 minutes. You've all got workbooks on your table. Page 8. Go to page 8. And just 2 minutes off the top of your head, if you're with a business partner, life partner, someone from the business, just jot down as many 4-minute miles. What are the things that you feel would give you sweaty palms to even contemplate doing? Off you go. Look, we'll be exploring more 4-minute miles, and as we go through the sessions, there'll be different things certainly that come up for you. So, but by the end of tomorrow, I want you to be crystal clear on what those 4-minute miles are for you in your business, and then also have a roadmap for how you're going to completely smash through them and obliterate them. So that's the game plan, guys. That's the agenda there. So that's the first big idea that I wanted to share and workshop. The second one relates to resources. So success in business is about accessing resources, right? So there's information. The reason you guys are here in the room, there's some great resources in your workbooks. There's some checklists in the back, and there's some information in there that we won't even be covering off over this 2 days. You can go away and have a look at it in your own time. There's resourcing people, obviously money. There's good people in the room. You're going to hear from some great speakers, some specialist speakers. And then with that comes the opportunity for a mind shift and an opportunity to change how you see things. And that's a leadership resource, and in my opinion, possibly the most powerful thing that you can do. So how we see things, how we choose to see things changes everything, right? Immediately and dramatically. And that impacts on behavior and then also results. This guy over here, Thomas Edison, you heard his story as well. Over 1,000 failed experiments, all right? And then invented the light bulb. But how he chose to see things, well, apparently he was homeschooled. So he didn't have the conditioning that we have from schooling, where you're passing an exam or a test is good, failing is bad. He didn't have that conditioning. He just saw each failed attempt at doing something was, well, it doesn't work that way. Okay, so now we know that doesn't work. And he kept moving forward. Whereas if you saw it as failure, it would be like, that loser feeling every time. 1,000 times, his motivation would have been beaten down. So it didn't happen. So he chose to see it as just another opportunity to keep moving forward. That's one way it doesn't work. And now, thank God, we have light. So how we choose things directly and immediately impacts performance. So let me tell you another story just to really drive this point home. So this is a famous story that gets told about a young bloke over in the States played American gridiron football. So and this is many years ago, Georgetown University. Lou Little was the coach of the team. So this guy, when he was young, he was a scrawny little kid. His dad loved footy, just loved it, and used to spend hours playing, and took him to footy club, and he played a bit through school, primary school, high school. He eventually got to college, and at Georgetown they got a good team. That year was the first time Georgetown had made the grand final in 10 years. So big deal for them. This guy, Peterson was his name. He didn't start with the team. It was what's called a walk-on. So he trained with the team, but he never actually got to start. He just wasn't good enough. He didn't have any real ability as a footy player. But he enjoyed it. He enjoyed being there with the blokes and training and everything else. The week before the grand final, they're training. Peterson goes to the coach, says, "Hey, coach, I've got some bad news." So I said, "What's up?" He said, "My dad passed away." And the coach was like, "Hey, man, really sorry to hear that." Team got together, said a prayer. They said, "Look, we'll play for your dad on Saturday at the grand final. Just use that as motivation and focus and everything else." Saturday morning, the coach is in his office. He's writing up the plays for the day. The door swings open. In walks Peterson, and he said to the coach, "I'm not going to be able to make the grand final." And the coach said, "No, that's fine. Be with the family." And he's like, "Hey, what's going on? What are you doing here? I thought you were going to be with the family." And he said, "Hey, coach, I've got a favour. I'm going to ask you a favour." And he said, "Hey, anything." And Peterson said, "I want you to start me today." And the coach was like, "Jesus, I'm sorry, man. I know I said anything, but that is the one thing that I cannot do. I just can't do that. I'm really sorry." And Peterson said, "Look, I'll make a deal with you." He said, "One wrong step. So you put me on, I'll take one wrong step. You can pull me off the field immediately." So the coach thought about it. He said, okay, you got a deal. That day, Peterson ran 240 yards, scored 4 touchdowns, almost single-handedly won the grand final for Georgetown. After the game, there's pandemonium. People are, celebrating, going nuts. And the coach ran up to him and was like, "Man, that was amazing. Phenomenal. How did you do that?" And Peterson said to him, "Coach, did you ever meet my dad?" And the coach said, "Nah, I never had the honor, but I remember seeing you guys walking around campus sort of arm in arm." And Peterson said, "Coach, my dad was blind, and today was the first day you could see me play." Geez, that gets me every time I tell that story. But how we choose to see things changes everything. So it immediately impacts on performance, right? So and results. I know a guy, when he spends time with his kids, he's got girls. I've got four girls. He chooses to see the situation when he's with them like that's the last day he's going to spend with them. And one day it will be. You know what I mean? And I've tried that since hearing about that with my kids and with my wife as well. And it's phenomenal how your focus can come into play when you just think of things that way, look at it that way. Some people may think it's a bit morbid to look at it from that perspective, but it completely changes everything. Like I've had my girls like, Dad, 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 Dad. No, they call it like 1,000 times, but when I'm thinking like this may be the last time, it's almost like I welcome that. So how does this relate to your business? Let's get specific. Jeremy and Wayne from Ecosystems, Queensland. Man, I ran a workshop like this in the Gold Coast, not like this, but a smaller one for the HIA, and these guys were in the room, or one of them was, Wayne, and we were talking about, what do you want to achieve with your business, and how big do you want to get, end game, where do you want to go with it? And this guy was like, we want a franchise. We want to go national. And a small builder up in Queensland, and I'm working with them now. They couldn't be here today, unfortunately, but man, they're doing that, and it's going absolute gangbusters. Obviously, a good market at the moment, but they are just streaking way ahead of where they thought they would be. But the interesting thing they said to me the last time I spoke to them was, as soon as they made that decision to go national, everything changed in that moment. So when they were looking at, putting a system in place in one aspect of the business, like with their sales process, straight away they were thinking, okay, how's that going to work nationally? And they reckon just the intensity, the standards, everything just raised with that decision to go national. So again, very powerful how we choose to see things. So in line with that, I want to do another quick exercise with you guys because we've got one of our specialist speakers that I want to introduce in a sec. Does anyone know who this is? Yeah? J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling. So, I'm going to get you guys to do an exercise. So what the hell have I got her up here for? Well, she's a billionaire, right? Net worth, $1 billion. I think she's the first author to achieve that level of financial success from writing books. What most people don't know is that she was rejected by 12 different publishers. Rejected 12 times. And she was advised not to quit her day job. That was the advice she got. Imagine 12 times. But wait, there's more. So Oprah Winfrey, she was fired from her job as a television reporter because she was unfit for TV. Vincent van Gogh, the artist, he was rejected throughout his entire career. Right? While he was alive, he was rejected. He only ever sold one painting, but today he's widely regarded as one of the greatest artists of all time. But he was a bit of a weirdo, right? He cut his ear off, so people were probably like, I'm not buying his painting, just based on that alone. Walt Disney, I just want to share these with you because I find this fascinating. These people were rejected by people in their industry, in their niche. They were told, nah, you're not good enough. Walt Disney, he was fired from a local newspaper in the Kansas City Star. Apparently, he lacked imagination. He had no good ideas. Steven Spielberg was rejected by the University of Southern California School of Theater. He got rejected. He didn't even get in. Marilyn Monroe was told that she should become a secretary instead of a model. Stephen King's first novel, Carrie, you guys probably seen the movie, was rejected 30 times. 30 times. And the Beatles were turned down by Decca Records. And after one performance, just one performance, Elvis Presley was fired as well by Jimmy Denny, the manager of the Grand Ole Opry. So why am I telling you this? Well, I want you guys to think about, and if you go to page 10 of your books, I want you to think about the end game for your business. So why are you really in business? What's the end game for you? Are you looking to set it up for succession? Are you looking to set it up to sell it? Are you looking to set it up to license it or to franchise it? I've got, one of my most successful young builders is becoming a life coach, and he's being trained by Tony Robbins because that's what he truly wants to do. So I want you to be honest with yourself. 2 minutes out of your head onto that page 10. What's the end game for you? we do need to keep moving. Hopefully you guys can, I really encourage you to network on the breaks, work your way through the room. You guys, who's come from interstate, from a different state? Okay, man, like you've got a small window of opportunity to network with some really quality people. There's real quality and intellectual property in the room is phenomenal. So if you could do that, I'll strongly recommend that you do. Some of you that are new to Builders Coach, you might be wondering, what's this guy do? What's my mission? Why am I up here sharing this information? Like, what's in it for me? So really my mission is I want to, firstly, make information accessible to builders so that they can raise standards and raise the standards of the industry, one builder at a time, and with that, change the perception of the industry, because there's not a lot of trust, and the perception's not great, let's face it, for most people, when they think about builders, right? So with that in mind, it's about just the relentless pursuit of best practice. And I get a real buzz, man, out of working with guys that do that break through barriers, that are trailblazers, that try new things to, again, just to raise the standards, to raise the bar. And there's a lot of fulfillment and enjoyment that comes out of that as well. The other interesting thing I just want to touch on with that relates to the end game is that with systems and technology in this day and age, you don't have to retire. You can set things up so that you are faceless or that you step back from your business to the extent that you can just keep going. Tomorrow you guys are going to meet someone that's doing exactly that. There may be a few of you in the room where just the thought of retirement is nuts. Like, what are you going to do? You'll go crazy. There's a lot of dopamine and adrenaline and everything that you get from business. And in the 80s and 90s, you had to retire. It was all paper. There's a lot of legwork just to run a business. It was not practical or possible when you're like 70 or 80 years old to keep going. Whereas now that's changed. Things have gone paperless. You can set it up so you work 10 hours, 20 hours, as much or as little as you want, and the business can keep growing. You can keep pursuing best practice. And if you're making a contribution with what you do, which I know a lot of you are, like you've got happy clients, you're doing something that you feel great about, you've got a great business that you're continuing to get better and better at, and you're digging a deeper groove, then why would you want to stop? Why wouldn't you want to just keep going and have a forever business? So that's a bit like me. I can't see myself building up a pile of money and then stopping and then doing what? Going fishing, travel. Like you get bored. I get bored on holidays after week one, and I can go to Vegas, Disney World, and then it's like you start missing. I don't know if you guys have a similar experience, but all right, just some housekeeping I haven't mentioned. We are going to have breaks. We're fully catered for. Bathrooms are there. If you've got a red tag, so you're VIP, you're very important to us. There's a little VIP room with some snacks and things there if you want to just rest your legs and just get a bit of quiet space. What else do I need to mention? Clearing the decks. If you could just leave all your baggage at the door, clear the decks in terms of like how you've done things in the past, any systems, processes, thoughts, the way you've looked at things. That would be my recommendation. Just start from nowhere and then listen to what you hear from the speakers and everyone in the room. And then either at the end of that, you're going to bring in what you believed or did before, or you're going to replace it with a new, better thing. So that's a very powerful approach that I recommend. And then 80-20, that 80-20 rule, 80% of your results come from 20% of your activities. As you go through this 2-day workshop, you're going to be capturing a lot of ideas and information in those workbooks. And again, I recommend you do that. Prioritize them. So there will be some medium ideas, small ideas, and then some big, million, 7-figure ideas. Those are the ones you want to asterisk and make sure that you've got them at the top of your list for when you leave here to action on.